Hey guys, so for today's devotion, I just want to share a little bit from the book of Job. If you haven't read it, very simply put, it's about a man who lost everything. He was a faithful servant of God, but even so, he lost his stuff, his family, and his health. And I feel like that really applies to what's going on right now, so I just want to share with you three quick things that I think might help you out. So my first point is this: God is always in control. No matter what we face, no matter what bad thing might happen to us, He is still in control. He is still the God of all of the universe. He is still the master. He's still the creator. He's still the Lord of lords, the King of kings. God is still who God is. You see, when Job was facing his things, even though it was earth-shattering, it was very tiny in what comparison to what God had already done through the entirety of the earth's history. So when Job came to God, that was the thing that God revealed to him, was that he was the guy who told the waves to move. He was the guy who told the sun to shine. He was the guy who called the continents out by name, who created the animals and life and everything else. You see, because God is in control. There's no denying it. He just is. If there's something bad that's happening to us, it can still be used for the good of His will, for all people throughout all time, which is incredible. So when we see something and we just think that it's just this one way, this tiny perspective of this must be bad, we need to zoom out and we need to see that it could be used for good of something else. Right? We could stub our toe on a chair and be like, "Ow, that hurts so much." Or we could move the chair. Now the next person that walks by isn't going to get hurt. We could be in a bad car accident and walk out with broken leg and be, "This is the worst because I broke my leg." Or we could look at the fact that we didn't die. We could be homesick from work and be like, "Oh man, I'm not getting paid." Or we could look at the fact that maybe we have a time to get rest. And this isn't just being positive or an optimist. God knows I'm not naturally an optimist. But it's looking at it with a different perspective. It's looking at it with the perspective that God can use everything for His will. That even though things might be hard, even though things might be uncertain, He still is who He says He is. He hasn't changed. The second point I want to share with you is that God has given permission for everything but destroy us. I'm going to read with you a quick verse. It's from Job 2:6. The Lord said to Satan, "Very well then, he is in your hands, but you must spare his life." Now, we can look at that and we can go, "Whoa, God has given permission to Satan to do stuff to him." Or we can look at the fact that Satan had to ask permission from God, because that's how in control God is. But two, God never gives us more than what we can handle. God never takes us too far. God never does anything for us that we cannot physically handle. You see, He might put things in our path that seem like massive roadblocks, but when they enter our path, we have the option to either climb over them or stay stuck. But they will never be insurmountable. They will never be too big. They will never be too hard. God has given permission to do everything but destroy us. So in this coronavirus era where we're at home and we don't know what to do, so we're twiddling our thumbs and wanting to drink and not hit our kids, maybe just think for a second that God has given you enough that you can handle. That maybe He's in control of that. Maybe that what you're going through right now is for the greater purpose of it all, if you let Him in. My third point is that He will restore us. You see, the book of Job doesn't just end with God being like, "I'm in control," and Job just being like, "All right, my bad." God restores him. But what God did first was He needed Job to truly realize who he was. I'm just going to share another verse with you really quick. It's Job 42, 2-5. Then Job replied to the Lord, "I know that you can do all things. No purpose of yours can be thwarted. You asked, 'What is this that obscures my plans without knowledge?' Surely I spoke of things I did not understand, things too wonderful for me to know. You said, 'Listen now, and I will speak. I will question you, and you shall answer me.' My ears have heard of you, but now my eyes have seen you." Now, what I think this has to say for us is that if we truly choose to worship God, if we truly choose to lift him up, if we truly choose to relinquish control of our lives to him, we should know that even in the bad times, even when things look too hard, that he is still worthy of our praise. That he is still doing something, whether we understand it or not. He is still working, and he is still working hard, not just for us, not just for the people around us, but for the good of everyone. Now, I don't know about you, but there is nothing else in this existence of anything that can handle that. You know, we look at superheroes on movies and we go, oh man, that's great, they saved a dozen people, or oh man, that's great, they saved the world from this threat, or oh man, that's great, they saved a person, or they saved themselves. But only God can work towards the good of all people at the same time throughout all time. And that's really incredible. He is the only one who's worthy of our praise. So, as you're at home, stuck for yet again another day, I just want you to think of, are you blaming God for what happened? Are you thanking him for what happened? Are you turning a blind eye to what's going on? Are you living in the negativity? What perspective have you chosen? And are you going to choose to worship God? Do you know that he's in control? Do you know that he cares about you, that he thinks of you, and he thinks that he's going to do the best he can for you? Because he will. And at the end of this, he will restore you. Because even in death, if we choose to follow him, he will always restore us to even greater places when we join him in heaven. So that's today's devotion. I hope that helped, and we'll see you next time.